there's a lot more to it than just 2 minutes before the cast go on stage like, oh, stick a swab up your nose and tell us if you've got COVID. Hi friends, how are you? I hope that you're very, very well. So today's going to be a bit of a quicker video, and I'm sorry that I'm wearing my hoodie. I'm so cold, I just don't want to take it off. So I know I look like a big old bear, but let's just ignore that fact, okay? So today I wanted to do a video about theatre closures at the moment with COVID and the pandemic and everything, because I feel like there is a bit of confusion. I keep seeing the same questions when like cancellations go up, and I thought that I would give my 2 cents and maybe explain why shows are closing so close to curtain up. So if you haven't been aware, lots of shows across the country, specifically in London in the West End and on Broadway, are having to close because of COVID, because of people in the company testing positive. And they're kind of taking it day by day at the moment, and shows are putting up cancellation notices maybe half an hour before a show, or you know, the morning of, or even I heard about a show the other day where it was literally like 5 minutes before curtain up and they ended up having to cancel, and the audience was full. The audience ended up like heckling the people who made the announcement to say that the show wasn't going ahead. People are saying, why are they leaving it so late to let audiences know? And like, why are they testing so late, or so on. So I work in a theatre and we are dealing with this every day, and so I thought that I had maybe an answer to some of those questions. I'm not speaking for anybody, obviously. I'm sure that not every theatre is going to be following the same protocols and things, but there's a lot more to it than just 2 minutes before the cast go on stage like, oh, stick a swab up your nose and tell us if you've got COVID. It's not like that. So a lot of companies are testing every day. You know, somebody will wake up in the morning before a show, whether that be a 7:30 p.m. show, a 2:30 matinee, or like a pantomime, so it's probably like an 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock start. You have cast and technical crew who will wake up every morning and take a rapid lateral flow test to find out if they're positive or negative. So say you have a cast where everybody takes a test and 5 people have tested positive that day. The problem is that COVID is everywhere right now, and specifically in London and like highly populated touristy areas like town centres and city centres, which is where theatres are. You know, the people who are in these shows are having to come on public transport and get to work by going through crowds of people, and it's sometimes impossible to avoid other people and to actually just get to work in a pandemic. So, you know, it's not that people are going out and partying or whatever and not taking it seriously. Sometimes it's just unavoidable, you know? And it's picked up in so many people because people in theatres are testing every day. So, you know, maybe people who work in offices or other places who don't test every day, maybe you do have someone in the office who might have it, minor symptoms, or be asymptomatic, and it's not picked up because not everyone's testing. So in theatres, everybody is testing, and that is why the positive rates are so much higher. So anyways, this isn't an example from my work, but from ones that are happening at the moment. So you wake up and you find out that you've got 5 cast members who have got a positive lateral flow test. So first things first, they have to go and take a rapid PCR test, which is a more accurate test than a lateral flow. I don't need to tell you what PCR test is. I'm sure that you know. So they have to go and get a PCR test, and they have to wait for the results to come back. While they're waiting for the results to come back, the company is kind of on standby. Like, if it's a false positive, then they can come back and be in the show. If not, then we have to find an understudy or a cover or do a split track with some swings. So that would be kind of the first route, would be for the dance captain or the company manager, depending on how it's done, for them to plan out who is going to be on which track in the show. You might have an ensemble person doing a cover of a lead role, so then you've got one less ensemble person. So then a swing will come in, they'll take over that person's ensemble track, if that makes sense. So if you've got understudies or standbys who aren't in the theatre, then you have to test them as well. So you have to get them to take a lateral flow test. Say 1 or 2 of them has it, you then can't use them. So it ends up that you have like, you're having to do split tracks, which is basically where somebody will not play one same journey through the show. For example, this is just an example off the top of my head, but you might have a cast member who is in the ensemble who in one scene plays the policewoman, and then in the next scene there's a baker. This cast member will not be playing the baker normally, but then in the next scene they'll play a teacher. I don't know what kind of musical this is, but in a split track you might play the policewoman and the baker and the teacher, and you're having to like do as much as you can basically to just fill the parts. So they do what they can on split tracks to fill the show, so they actually have a show to put on. You know, if they are super running low on cast, then they can try to do a cut show, so they'll like cut certain parts of it. If they still don't have enough people, they will phone ex-cast members, so people who have been in the show before. Maybe it's someone who was in the ensemble 3 years ago, and you phone them up and you say, are you free? Can you take a lateral flow test? Do you remember this show? So then they're trying to get these people in. This is all happening so quickly, and everyone is just scrambling around to do whatever they can to put on the show. I've seen pantomimes before, not with COVID related, but if somebody has had to drop out, they've ended up having to get someone on stage to stand there with a script and do it and play a part. A company will do everything in their power to not cancel a show. So the fact that so many shows are cancelled and they're happening so late in the day is a big deal. And the problem is, like, they might run out of all other options and they have to just pray that the first 5 peoples, that one of them has a negative PCR test, so then they can come in and do the show. So they're holding on till the very last minute to see who they can get in, what they can do. It's not just like, oh, it's 5 minutes before the show. Alphabet, do you want to go and do a lateral flow test and see if you've got COVID? It's not like that. So all I'm trying to say is that these shows that are cancelling last minute, trust me, it will not be for lack of trying. They will do everything in their power to make that show go ahead. And if it isn't their fault. It's not anybody's fault. There have been some rumours that on Broadway people are testing positive on a lateral flow, taking a PCR and then coming in after taking their PCR and waiting until they get a positive PCR to go home, so they could essentially be coming in and infecting everybody. I don't know if that is 100% the case, but they are some heavy rumours I've heard about Broadway. Remember as well that when a show is cancelled, the cast are not going to be paid for that performance that was supposed to go ahead. The company are losing thousands of pounds on every performance. I mean, they're losing money anyway at the moment. To run a show in the West End for a week, it costs around about 250 grand. So to lose that is massive, and it's like a crisis, and it is scary for our industry. You know, it's all feeling very March 2020 again. People are worrying and panicking. All I would say is, like, please, if you've had a show cancelled, please don't message the people who are in the show to say, is it your fault? Have you got COVID? Or I couldn't come to the show. Will you send a video of you singing a song for me? Which I have seen has apparently happened. Just please show some patience with people. Things will be back. So yeah, I suppose we'll just have to wait and see. It's a big deal. It's nothing to be taken lightly. And, you know, I just hope that we can all take this time that shows are closed and whatever to remember how grateful we are for the community and to be a community together. So yeah, if I don't see you again, I probably won't see you again now until after Christmas. So I hope you have a lovely festive season, whatever you end up doing, if you celebrate Christmas or not. I hope that you have a lovely time, and I will see you on the other side. Love you lots. Bye.